if you've ever felt like you had to be perfect just to be loved. Stop scrolling because what you're about to hear might finally set you free. I don't need perfection. You've seen what perfection looks like. It's polished, it's distant, it doesn't bleed, it doesn't stay. What I want is real. I want the version of you that doesn't try so hard to be everything for everyone else. The quiet you, the messy you. The one who overthinks at 2 a.m. and still chooses to care, because love, real love, was never about finding someone flawless. It's about finding someone whose flaws feel like home, and maybe I'm not perfect either. Maybe I carry my own storms, my own scars, my own silences. But when I look at you, I don't see something that needs fixing, I see someone worth choosing, again, and again, and again. So no, I don't want perfect, I just want you. I don't want perfection. I've spent enough time chasing things that looked perfect from a distance. Things that seemed untouchable, flawless, almost like they belonged in a world where nothing ever goes wrong. But the closer I got, the more I realized, perfection has no warmth. It doesn't hold you when you're falling apart. It doesn't sit beside you in silence when words feel too heavy to carry. It just exists, distant, cold, and impossible to truly reach. What I want is something real, something that breathes, something that feels. I want the kind of connection that doesn't pretend to have it all figured out. The kind that stumbles, that hesitates, that sometimes gets it wrong but still chooses to stay. Because staying, that's where love begins to prove itself. You see, I don't look at you and search for perfection. I don't count your mistakes or measure your worth by the things you wish you could change. I notice the little things instead. The way your voice softens when you talk about something you care about, the way your eyes hold stories you don't always tell, the way you try even when you think no one notices. And maybe you don't see it, maybe. You've spent so long believing you're not enough, that you need to be more. Do more, become something better just to be loved. But standing here, looking at you, I don't see someone who needs fixing. I see someone who's already enough in ways the world doesn't always understand. I know life hasn't been easy on you. I can feel it in the way you hold back sometimes, like you're afraid of giving too much of yourself away. I can see it in the moments when you smile, but there's something behind it. Something quiet, something heavy, and I don't want you to hide that from me. I don't want the perfect version of you that you show to everyone else. I want the truth. The unfiltered, unpolished, beautifully imperfect truth, because love isn't about finding someone who never breaks. It's about finding someone whose broken pieces you're willing to hold, not to fix them, but to understand them. To sit with them. To sit with them. To say, you don't have to carry this alone anymore, and I know I'm not perfect either. I have my own scars, my own regrets, my own nights where everything feels too loud inside my head. I've made mistakes I wish I could take back, said things I wish I could rewrite, felt things I didn't know how to handle. But that's the thing. I'm not asking you to love a perfect person, because I'm not one. I'm asking you to love someone real. Someone who will show up, even on the days when it's hard. Someone who won't run when things get complicated. Someone who chooses you not because you're flawless, but because you're you, and you. You're not perfect, you're human. You overthink. You doubt yourself. You carry fears you don't always talk about. But there's something about that. Something honest, something raw, something that makes you feel alive in a way perfection never could. Your flaws don't push me away. They draw me closer. Because they tell me you're real, they tell me you've lived, you've felt, you've survived things that could have broken you. But didn't. And that matters more than any version of perfection ever could. I don't need you to be everything. I don't need you to have all the answers or to always be strong. I don't need you to hide the parts of yourself you think are too much or not enough. What I need, what I want, is for you to be exactly who you are, not the version the world expects, not the version shaped by fear or doubt, just you, because when I look at you, I don't see something lacking. I see something rare. I see someone who feels deeply, even when it hurts, someone who cares, even when it's risky. Someone who still believes in love, even after everything, and that's not something I'd ever want to change. You don't have to pretend with me. You don't have to wear a mask or build walls to protect yourself. If anything, I want to be the place where those walls can come down. Where you don't have to be strong all the time. Where you can just exist. Without fear of being judged or misunderstood. Because I'm not here for a perfect story. I'm here for a real one, a story where we don't always get it right, but we don't give up either, where we learn each other slowly, patiently, where we grow, not into perfect people, but into better versions of ourselves. Together. And maybe that sounds simple, but it's not. Choosing someone every day, even when things aren't easy, even when doubts creep in, even when life gets heavy. That's not simple. That's real. That's what love actually looks like. It's not grand gestures or flawless moments, it's the quiet decisions. The small acts. The way you stay when leaving would be easier. The way you listen when silence would be more comfortable. I don't want a love that looks perfect from the outside. I want a love that feels real on the inside, a love that's messy sometimes, but honest, a love that's imperfect, but strong, a love that doesn't break the moment things stop being easy. And with you, I feel like that's possible, not because you're perfect, but because you're not, because you're human, and so am I, because we both have things we're still figuring out, because we both carry pieces of our past that still echo in the present. And instead of pretending those things don't exist, we can face them, together. I don't need you to complete me. I don't need you to fix what's broken in me or to fill every empty space. That's not your job, and it's not what I'm asking for. What I'm asking for is simpler. And, maybe harder at the same time. I'm asking you to choose me. Not because I'm perfect, but because I'm real, and I promise to do the same for you. To choose you. On the good days, when everything feels light and easy, and on the hard days, when nothing makes sense and everything feels heavy, to choose you when you're smiling. And when you're not. To choose you when you feel strong. And when you feel like you're falling apart, because love isn't about finding someone who never changes. It's about finding someone you're willing to grow with, and I want to grow with you, not into something perfect, but into something real, something lasting, something honest. So no, Abby, don't want perfection. I don't want something that looks flawless, but feels empty. I don't want something that fades the moment reality sets in. I want you, just as you are. Your flaws don't scare me. They never did. In a world that keeps telling you to smooth out your edges, to hide the parts that don't fit neatly into someone else's idea of perfect. I find myself drawn to those very things you try to conceal, not because they're broken, but because they're honest. Because they tell the truth about who you are, without pretending, without filters, without masks. I see the way you hesitate sometimes. The way you second-guess your own worth, like you're waiting for someone to confirm what you've never fully believed about yourself. And I wish you could see what I see. Not the doubts, not the insecurities, but the quiet strength behind them. The courage it takes to keep going, even when a part of you feels unsure. You call them flaws, but I see stories. Every imperfection you carry has a history. Every scar, whether visible or hidden, has a moment attached to it. A time when life didn't go the way you hoped, when something hurt deeper than you expected, and instead of turning away from that, I want to understand it. I want to sit with it. Not to fix it, not to erase it, but to acknowledge it, because those parts of you, they matter. The way you overthink things isn't weakness, it's proof that you care deeply, that your mind refuses to treat anything lightly. The way you get quiet sometimes isn't distance. It's you trying to process everything you feel. The way you struggle to trust isn't a flaw. It's the result of having been hurt before, of having given your heart and felt it break, and none of that makes you less. If anything, it makes you more real, more human, more you. I don't want the version of you that has everything figured out. I don't want the version that never doubts, never stumbles, never falls. That version doesn't exist. And even if it did, it wouldn't be the one I'd choose. I'd choose this version, the one who's still learning, the one who sometimes gets it wrong but tries anyway, the one who feels deeply, even when it's uncomfortable, because that's the version that's alive. You don't have to hide your imperfections from me. You don't have to pretend they're not there or act like they don't affect you. I'm not here to judge them or to measure you against some impossible standard. I'm here to understand you. To see all of you, even the parts you're unsure about. And I know that's not easy, opening up, letting someone see you completely. It takes trust, it takes courage, it means risking the possibility that they might not accept what they find. But I want you to know, I'm not going anywhere because of your flaws. If anything, they're the reason I stay, because they make you real in a way perfection never could. They remind me that you've lived, that you've experienced things that shaped you, that you've grown into the person standing here now. And that person is someone I choose, not despite your flaws, but with them. I don't look at you and think about what you could be if you were different. I don't imagine a version of you that's better, or easier, or more polished. I look at you as you are, right now, in this moment, and I see someone worth knowing, worth understanding, worth loving. Your imperfections don't need to be erased, they don't need to be hidden, or fixed, to make you worthy of love. They're part of your story. And your story is something I want to be a part of. Even the parts that are messy. Even the parts that are complicated. Even the parts that don't make sense right away, because love isn't about finding someone who fits perfectly into a mold, it's about finding someone whose imperfections feel like something you can understand. Something you can connect with. Something that makes them uniquely themselves. And when I look at you, that's exactly what I see. I see someone who feels deeply, even when it hurts, someone who tries, even when they're tired, someone who carries more than they let on, but still shows up, and that means more to me than perfection ever could. You don't have to be fearless with me. You don't have to have everything together. If there are days when you feel uncertain, when you feel like you're not enough, I want you to know that those moments don't change how I see you, they don't make you less in my eyes. They don't make me question what I feel, if anything. They remind me why I feel it, because you're real, because you're human, because you're not pretending to be something you're not, and that's rare. It's easy to admire perfection from a distance, it's easy to be drawn to something that looks flawless on the surface, but that kind of connection, it doesn't go deep. It doesn't last when things get difficult, when reality sets in and the illusion fades. What lasts is honesty, what lasts is understanding, what lasts is the ability to see someone fully and still choose them, and I choose you, not because you're perfect, but because you're not, because your flaws don't push me away. They bring me closer. They make me want to learn more about you, to understand the things that shaped you, to be there for you in the moments when you feel unsure. They make me want to stay, not out of obligation, not out of habit, but out of something real, something steady, something honest, something that doesn't disappear when things get hard. You don't have to change for me, you don't have to become someone else to be loved. The person you are right now, with all your imperfections, all your doubts, all your quiet strengths, is already enough, more than enough, and maybe one day, you'll see that too. Maybe one day, you'll look at yourself and realize that the things you thought were flaws, are actually the very things that make you who you are. Until then, I'll be here, seeing you for what you truly are, not perfect, but real. And that's everything. Loving you isn't about completing me. It was never about that. I've lived enough life to understand that no one can fill every empty space inside another person. No one can carry all the weight, fix every wound, or silence every fear. And I wouldn't want that for you. I wouldn't want to place that kind of expectation on something as real as what I feel. Because love, at its core, isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about standing beside someone while they learn to heal themselves. Before you, I thought love meant finding the missing pieces, like two halves trying to become whole. But the truth is, we were never halves to begin with. We were always complete in our own ways, just, still learning ourselves, still carrying things we didn't fully understand, and then you came into my life. Not to complete me, but to meet me where I already stood. That's what makes this different, that's what makes this real. I don't look at you and think, now I'm finally whole. I look at you and think, here is someone I want to share my wholeness with. And that my brokenness too, because loving you isn't about needing you to survive, it's about wanting you to stay. There's a quiet difference between the two. Needing someone can feel heavy. Like you're holding on out of fear, out of emptiness, out of something that depends too much on them being there. But wanting someone, choosing them, that comes from a different place. It comes from freedom, from clarity, from something deeper than just filling a void. I choose you, not because I have to, not because I'm afraid of being alone, but because, out of everything and everyone in this world, you are the one I keep coming back to, again, and again, and again. And it's not always easy, real love never is. There are moments when we misunderstand each other, when silence feels heavier than words, when emotions don't line up the way we wish they would. There are days when life pulls us in different directions. When stress, fear, and doubt try to find their way in, but even in those moments, even when things aren't perfect, AB still choose you, not blindly, not out of habit, but consciously, because loving you isn't about chasing perfection, it's about embracing reality. Together, it's about seeing you on your worst days and not turning away. It's about staying when things feel uncertain, when questions don't have easy answers. It's about holding on, not because it's comfortable, but because it's worth it, and you are worth it. I don't expect you to fix my past, I don't expect you to carry my pain, or to make everything okay when it's not. Those are things I'm learning to face on my own, those are battles that belong to me, but what I do hope for is that you'll walk beside me while I fight them, not as someone responsible for my healing, but as someone who understands it. And I promise you the same, I won't try to change you into someone you're not. I won't ask you to become easier, simpler, or more convenient to love. That's not what this is about. I want you as you are, not a version shaped by expectations, not a version filtered through fear, but the real you, the one who laughs in a way that feels effortless, the one who overthinks things late at night, the one who carries dreams, doubts, fears, and hopes all at once. That's the person I choose every single day, and choice, that's what makes love real, because feelings can be unpredictable. They rise, they fall, they shift with time and circumstance. But choice is steady, it's intentional. It's something you wake up and decide, over and over again, even when it's hard, even when it would be easier not to. I choose to stay, I choose to listen, I choose to understand, I choose you. Not because you make my life perfect, but because you make it real. You challenge me in ways I didn't expect. You make me think, make me feel, make me see things differently. You remind me that love isn't supposed to be simple, it's supposed to be honest. And honesty, it's not always comfortable. It means showing up as you are, even when you're unsure. It means speaking truths that aren't easy to say. It means being vulnerable, even when there's a risk of getting hurt. But that's what makes it meaningful. Because when two people choose each other in that kind of honesty, when they stand together not as perfect beings, but as real ones, that's when something deeper forms, something lasting. Something that doesn't disappear the moment things get complicated. I don't need you to be my everything. I don't need you to replace the parts of my life that belong to me alone. You don't have to carry that responsibility. All I ask is that you be here, not perfectly, not flawlessly, just, truly, be here in the moments that matter. Be here when things are quiet, when nothing special is happening, but the presence still feels enough. Be here when life feels overwhelming, when words don't come easily but silence is shared. Because that's what love looks like to me, not a fairy tale, not something untouched by struggle, but something real, something grounded, something built through time and choice. And I will keep choosing you. In the small moments, in the big ones, in the in-between spaces where life simply unfolds. Not because you complete me, but because you add something to my life that I don't want to live without. Something honest, something steady, something real.